Yes, everyone, how we doing, and welcome to the match review for Manchester City 3, Manchester United 0. Come on, I can come in here and be positive after a game. I've never felt more like singing the blues. City win, United lose. Oh, City, you've got me singing the blues. Okay, I'm sorry, I won't be doing that again. However, I'm just still extremely happy about how yesterday went for Manchester City. I'm over the moon, over the blue moon. You saw me. No, I'm not going to break into song every few seconds. Look, yesterday was quality. It was brilliant. It was an extraordinary performance and game from Manchester City. I do truly believe that. You know, I feel like it's shown the sheer class difference between the two teams. And it's quite funny, isn't it? Because coming into the game, the whole narrative was about how, look, United are above us in the league. If we lose this, we're 3 games on the bounce. And even to some point, I was like nervous. I'm nervous before all derby games, but like I was a little bit worried because of how we'd been before the international break. But you come out of the game and think, why do you do it to yourself? Why do you get worried like that? Because we know the difference between the two teams in quality. You know, looking at a table after 3 games, like, it isn't significant yet. And City against United yesterday, it was just like boys v men. It was genuinely just class against disasters. You know, United were a disgrace. The fans were a disgrace. Some of the worst sets of... I say it near enough every year. Even last year when you beat us, right? Of course, it was awful. And when they got the goals in the last minute, the limbs and everything, of course, it's good. It would be with anyone, last minute limbs. It's just, that is what it is. But throughout the game, they were poor last season. Throughout the game, the season before that, they were poor. And yesterday, again, they were poor. The fans, United fans, away fans, are always made out to be all these brilliant fans. They're really not. I'm telling you now, from my experiences, multiple experiences of seeing them come to the Etihad Stadium, they're not all that. Okay, they're not. And leaving yet again, you know, we all do this. Empty seats at home. Empty seats at home. You know, people going about City's empty seats. There is empty seats every single derby day. Every single derby day. But it's always coming from the away end. When they're in town, fire drills about 70th minute, 75th minute. It was just things we love to see. Yeah, the fans were terrible. Their players were terrible. Top to bottom, their players were poor. And top to bottom, our players were brilliant. You know, there's so much to talk about, so much to be excited about off the back of that game. You think of the new debut, you think of Kusanov at right back, that midfield three, Phil Foden being back, Erling Haaland on the score sheet, a great game by Doku. There's everything to get into in this video. So look, if you're new to the channel, then make sure you subscribe to it. If you've not seen my matchday vlog for yesterday's games, go and give that a watch. It was a belter, if I do say so myself. It was always going to be a belter if City won the game, so yeah, go give it a watch if you're not already. And yeah, let's get into discussing this brilliant result of Manchester City 3, Manchester United 0. Come on, City! Okay, so look, coming into the game, I was nervous, okay, I'll admit it. I mean, I am before every derby, like I just said. But again, to be fair, luckily, when I do previews and I've got the footage online, there's no one that can go, oh, you were saying this before and you were saying that before, and the footage is there. I know exactly what I was saying, and I said multiple times in the preview ahead of the game that I'm nervous for the game and I'm worried for the game, but it isn't Manchester United I'm worried about. It was Manchester City that I was worried about, us not turning up, us not rising to the occasion, and we did that. We most definitely did, and United proved to me exactly why I didn't care about them or how good they were or anything like that. It was nothing to do with them. I said that I wasn't worried about any of their players, and I'm not. I'm even less concerned about any of the players. They were bobbins. They were terrible. It was just total domination for Manchester City. You're near enough from start to end. We definitely started the better side. They had little moments here and there. Manchester United, you know, we let them back into. I felt anyway we let them back into the game towards the end of that first half. But we went into it with a lead, and that was the important thing. And we came out second half even stronger. And we were just incredible. You know, we'll get into the individuals that I want to talk about soon. But just as far as a team effort, a team performance, they all ran for one another. They all worked for one another. It was brilliant. You know, Pep on the sideline, loving it. It was just beautiful. The fans, the energy in the stadium yesterday was just superb. City fans turned up loud, loyal, proud, backed the team from start to finish. It was just great. The support was great. The game was great. The performances was great. It was just a brilliant day, start to finish, for Manchester City. So yeah, proud of the boys. proud of everything regarding Manchester City. You know, it's a tough week this coming up. I know technically United yesterday, it was last week because it was Sunday, but if you look at this period of 7 days, big games. Derby Day ticked off, a massive one that was ticked off. You got Napoli on Thursday night. That's going to be a really tough game, really tough. Kevin De Bruyne, of course, coming back. Napoli, a great side. Champions League, we need to be better this season. We don't want to be in a position that we were last season in this new league phase. And then the one on Sunday, Arsenal. Look, I'll be honest, I'm still not excited for that Arsenal game because I know the difference between Arsenal and United is vast in quality. You know, the two completely different sides, especially defensively. United defensively are a shambles, and Arsenal, sorry, in my opinion, have the best defence in the league. So I'm expecting a completely different game, but I'd be lying if I said I wasn't more positive than I was about the idea of this Arsenal game now. So yeah, there's a lot to be positive about, I'd say. So look, City took an early lead into the game. Phil Foden header. I often just say that, Phil Foden header. Brilliantly took as well. Brilliantly worked from Jeremy Doku. Some great dribbling by him, who I thought had an exceptional game yesterday. He put the ball into their box and Phil Foden, bang, and he runs and celebrates. It's just euphoria. It's like Phil Foden, who was so highly anticipated his performance because we know how good he is just as a footballer, but also Derby Day he turns up. I said time and time again, as I said before about me, the good thing about me making these previews and making content online, that I can make myself look I can just prove how intelligent I am. You know, I can just prove how smart I am, how I just see things that nobody else sees that I'm taking to make, obviously. But I said ahead of the game, about Phil Foden and how it was a massive opportunity for him this Derby Day if he's back. Not even just this Derby Day, to be fair, but just this season. You know how City were performing pre-international break, and of course his first game back, his first game of the season, and he was immense. He ran the show. I know Haaland got man of the match, but for me, Phil Foden was the best player on that pitch yesterday, and I was so impressed with how he plays. He just ran United ragged. He pulled the strings everywhere. He was just beautiful, you know, beautiful to watch. Of course, took his goal well, like I said, but just his all-around game yesterday was excellent. And then look, like I said before, I think we let United get back into the game, back into the first half, but we stayed strong, stayed solid. Good save by Donnarumma in the first half. Good bit of defending from Kusanov and the centre halves and everything. United, they had a couple chances, but I think City defended them well. And not only that, I don't think much of Manchester United's attack whatsoever. So we were pretty comfortable. And then we come out into the second half, feeling good, feeling strong, ready for it. Straight on to United. And look, it was an early second goal by Erling Haaland. Again, thought he took his goal brilliantly. Doku with another assist, played Haaland through. Just that chipped finish, that little dink over the goalkeeper, dink over Bayende. Beautiful goal. And Haaland again limbs. He's going mad. Haaland's going mad, celebrating again. A brilliant record against Manchester United. Always turns up at Derby Day. In fact, he against all teams that Erling Haaland has played against in the Premier League, I don't think it shows how good Haaland is, how poor United are. He's got a better record against Manchester United than he has any other Premier League side, which is just mental, isn't it? You know, and 2 goals yesterday to add to his tally. I think it's 11 goal contributions now against United. Only Ryan Giggs, I believe, has more goal contributions in Manchester derbies, and Ryan Giggs was playing football for about 15 years at Manchester United, 20 years at United, whatever it was. So yeah, Haaland, he's got a fair bit of time. We'll probably beat that record when we play them again later in the season at the Swamp, won't we? So yeah, he took his goal brilliantly, and we just kept on it. We stuck the pressure on. He had a chance to make it 3-0 when it hit the post. From where I was stood in South Stand at the back, we were going mad. We were celebrating, thinking that we'd scored. I didn't know what had happened. I didn't see it clearly enough, but it was like you're pulling each other saying, "Oh wait, stop," because we're ready to stand on the chairs and go crazy. And it's like, "Whoa, it's not gone in." I don't know how, but it didn't go in. I've seen it now. It was unlucky. Seen the replay. Haaland frustrated about it after the game. I've seen his interview as well after it, which just shows his hunger to get even more goals. I mean, I know he's not shy of match balls, isn't it? But it'd have been nice, another Derby Day match ball for Haaland. But it is what it is. It wasn't too long after that he actually did make it 3-0, and a beautifully timed run. Just beautiful everything. Genuinely beautiful everything. The finish, the composure, just to take it to his left foot, open up his body. It's the type of finish we've seen from Erling Haaland so many times. And to be fair, the type of finish that when I think of Erling Haaland's first game at Manchester City, first actual game anyway, West Ham away in the Premier League, I don't know if it was his first goal or second goal. I know one was a penalty. I think that was his second. When he opened up his body, used his left foot and just curled it into that far left post corner. Goalkeeper, it was unstoppable. It's unstoppable, especially for a goalkeeper with the ability to get it off Bayern Day. It was unstoppable. And it's the same celebration that he did in the West Ham game. His traditional, celebration. I'm not going to cross my legs and, you know what I'm saying, but the celebration. And then, from then, we had more chances. Reindeer, but Reindeer, it sounded like Reindeers that, didn't it? But, Tijani Reinders, it felt like he could have probably got himself a goal. Foden could have got himself another. We had opportunities, but we'll have to settle for free. You know what I'm saying? We'll have to settle for free. And it was just brilliant. The performance was brilliant. And then the reaction to it, I love to see. Of course, the fans, the City fans, we're always going to go mad when we beat United. Of course we are. It's a big occasion, isn't it? Derby Day. Them lot, they like to pretend like they don't care, isn't it? But blatantly don't care, do you? No. It's when they don't care unless they win. And then when they win, it's all you hear. Them going at it, and then on the build, we don't care about. I don't understand this false narrative that they try and put. And I feel like a lot of it, a big reason for it from a majority of United fans who, to be fair, some of them might not care as much as we do, and that's fine. I don't really care how much they care. I'm not bothered. I care, and we won. That's all that matters to me. But I feel like the reason why a lot of United fans always go, we don't care about City. The real rivalry is Liverpool. The real rivalry is Arsenal. Do you know why the real rivalry is Liverpool or Arsenal for you? Because you live in Ireland, because you live in London, you've grown up there. For a lot of Manchester, and not all of them, to be fair, some Manchester fans, some Manchester-based Manchester United fans, they feel the rivalry more with Liverpool or Arsenal, and that's fine. Got nothing to do with me. It doesn't bother me. I don't lose any sleep over it. But a lot of them that go on about, we don't care about City. No. You were just surrounded by Liverpool. You were surrounded by Arsenal where you're growing up because you didn't grow up in Manchester. For us City fans growing up in Manchester, it was either blue or red. That was what it was. Your City fan, United fan growing up in school, your mates at the pub, your mates at work, wherever, it's all City or United. So that's the case for obviously a lot of these United fans and Liverpool fans and all that. They're all Irish and London, aren't they? The Cockney Reds, you know what I mean? So I think that's probably a large reason for it. But I cared, and I very much enjoyed it yesterday, may I just say. But the reaction I was going on about was just a reaction from the players more so. The little lap of the pitch that he did at the end was nice to see. As the team as well, obviously, after other wins, after, just standard wins, let's say we beat Napoli on Thursday night, fingers crossed, but certain players will come over more so than others. Haaland comes over a lot, Ruben Diaz comes over a lot, Phil Foden, John Stones. There's a few that come to mind that are very much, they come over a lot, and to the south stand where I am anyway. Jack Grealish used to do it a lot as well, but it was just as a team, everyone came over together. After the United players came over to thank the about 6 or 7 fans that stayed there, and I've got a little YouTube short out. If you don't have the time or you don't fancy watching the entire matchday vlog, fair enough. I mean, you do what you want with your time. You're missing out. I'm joking, but I put out a little YouTube short of us singing to the United players. It was a similar video I've got from the treble season when we was at Wembley, when they were lifting the silver medals, or collecting the silver medals, I should say. So it's a bit of fun, it's a bit of banter really, isn't it? But it was just nice, we've seen it, Phil Foden and Pep Guardiola hugging and smiling, and I'm happy Phil's got his mojo back. Hopefully this is good for Pep as well, his mind, his mental, and I think this will only do good things for Manchester City coming into, as for the season anyway, but especially coming into this week that we've got now, Napoli and Arsenal. This United performance, this United result, I think it could be massive for us, to be honest. Now look, as for certain individuals that I want to talk about, there's a few, so I'll get straight into it. The first one, Gianluigi Donnarumma, baby, Donnarumma, whoa, wow, how good does that feel? Like, you just feel safe. Do you know what I mean? It's like your doors are locked, your windows are locked, that nobody can get in, you sleep peacefully. Donnarumma at net, just that bit of security and a bit of safety. As I said before, United didn't create many chances. They weren't great going forward, they weren't great defensively, they weren't great full stop. But they had a couple decent efforts on goal where, if you think, the main one that comes to mind, I spoke about the first half save before, but especially one that comes to mind was that Mbeumo save. City were 2-0 up, and Mbeumo hit a beautiful strike on the volley. I think he is by far probably Manchester United's best player. He is. I know people going about Bruno. I think Cunha's actually decent as well, but of course he was injured for yesterday. But Bryan Mbeumo was a good player. And he hit a beautiful strike on the volley. And Donnarumma, he just got down so quick. That stretched out right arm, tipped it wide. And you're seeing just the players' reactions to it. The entire defence, the midfield, everyone, Haaland just squeezing him and picking it up and going, yes! Celebrated it like a goal, because that is what it was arguably like a goal, isn't it? You know, it's a defining moment, a match-saving moment. The entire feeling, the what's the word I'm trying to look for? The momentum could change. It could flip on its head if Mbeumo gets that goal and it's 2-1. There's 20 minutes to go. We've seen what it was like last season where United got a goal back and it just changed. And, you know, it was a massive defining moment in the game where it was like, okay, we're winning this game, we're killing it off. And then we did a few minutes later with Haaland second. You know, it was a massive save. You think his distribution is passing out. United put him under pressure and he didn't feel it. He didn't look like he felt it anyway. His passing was fine. His kicking was fine. Everything was perfect. He was commanding in his area from the corners. His punches, he were punching them far. It was just a brilliant game. I absolutely loved watching Donnarumma's performance yesterday. I was so impressed, immensely impressed. And yeah, look, I know there was a fair bit of criticism, not necessarily from myself, to be fair, just because I'm a goalkeeper and I want to watch the best goalkeeper in the world at my club. You know what I mean? I couldn't not. The idea of it was just like too exciting for me to say, oh, it's a bit unfair on Trafford, which it is. I understand Trafford might be looking, especially after that performance, thinking, oh, should have went Newcastle, but that's football, isn't it? You know, we had an opportunity to bring in Donnarumma, and I'm so glad, even more so after yesterday, that we did it. You think of when, I don't know if it was after Haaland set, 2-0 or Haaland's second goal, we made it 3-0. When he did that knee slide, I've seen the video of it, Donnarumma knee slide into the City fans at South Stand. It was just immense. You know, you've got to feel for Donnarumma as well. You look at it. His first game at Manchester City, this is his expectations now. He's bringing a new feeling, a new mentality, a new sort of comfort in the net. You know, Ederson, we all love and adore and appreciate his service at City 110%. I love Ederson. And he also made his debut at Fenerbahce yesterday against Andre Onana. Figured that one out on the same day. And who came on top? Ederson. He's Brazilian. He only cost 30 million. We think he's brilliant. Yeah, I've broken into song so many times in the video when I thought, this is what it is. I'm so happy again. I'm happy again. But yeah, there's a different feeling with Donnarumma to Ederson, just in the sense that Ederson, he was a good shot stopper, but he wasn't world-class shot stopper, was he? Donnarumma, just off yesterday, you're looking at that one save and we're all like, whoa, like it's mad. Haaland, after the game, when he got his Man of the Match award, said, oh, I want to give it to Gigi Donnarumma. You know what I mean? He was incredible. That save, his presence, everything. He's here. The Italian mafia. You know what I mean? The Italian just unit in net. The size of him, like Pep said in his press conference, what he brings was size. And I know, weirdly enough, James Trafford's taller than Donnarumma, and that doesn't make sense in our heads. But it's presence. Presence is massive for a goalkeeper. And Donnarumma has a presence in abundance. He was just an incredible watch yesterday. He really, really was. The next player I want to talk about is Abkadir Kusanov at right back. Came in at right back. We all wanted him there at right back. Majority of us anyway. I did, you did, and probably your mother and father did. You know, it was, look, the right back situation, I don't want to go into too much more detail about it because I feel like I speak about it every single, never mind YouTube video, every minute of the day we go on about City's right back situation. It was all summer, all last season and everything. But, you know, Mateus Nunes is a good footballer. He's not a right back. Rico Lewis, of course, signed his contract in between my preview and my match day vlog, you know, over the weekend, on the Friday, I think it was, signed his contract, which is good. It's great news for City. You know, he's got a big future at City, signed until 2030. So I'm happy with that. And I do like Rico a lot. But especially in these big games against good wingers, against good teams, as much as United aren't, they're supposed to be, aren't they? We need Kusanov at right back. You know, what he offers us defensively, I think by a fair distance, he is the best right back we have defensively. I feel like his pace, his power, I mean, as I said, his pace is rapid. He is absolutely insanely quick. We've seen that again yesterday, but we already knew that. And one thing I love from Kusanov, I know people say he's rash, he goes in heavy, and Yes, we can see him getting a few red cards in his City tenure, 110%, but I love it. I love it about him. It's what I want to say. You feel like in this modern game, there aren't these hard-hitting tackles anymore, are there? We miss them. We don't have them now. And Kusanov, when he goes sliding in, yes, he's going to get sent off. Yes, he's going to get injured at times. But he gets you off his seat. You know, he goes in for a big tackle, wins it heavy. And you celebrate it. You know what I mean? It's incredible. I love Kusanov. I think he's got to get more minutes. And I feel like, you know, Napoli, do I want him starting at Napoli? I don't know. Just because I feel like Arsenal, I definitely want him starting 110%. You know, I wouldn't mind Rico at right back for Napoli and then start Kusanov right back in Arsenal. You know, we'll talk about that in their previews in due course. But Kusanov at right back, I thought was brilliant. And the other side of the fullback, Nico Riley at left back, of course, thrown into a big game. His first start of the season for Manchester City. And wow, he took his opportunity. You think with Ryan Aït-Nouri being out injured, the logical option for a lot of fans, and myself included to be fair, I didn't write off O'Reilly starting, but I just felt like with Ake being available, obviously John Stones wasn't available, but you felt Ake was on the bench there, could have been at left back. I also felt like maybe Vardiol could have went to left back and Ake would have started at centre half, but Pep's Pep for a reason. You know, it was a brilliant decision starting Nico Riley. He took his opportunity. I thought he was solid at the back. He, again, talk about presence, the size of him, the ball control, the confidence at such a young age in a position that isn't his own. He's immense. He was really good, and I know it might seem a bit of a risk, and the only way I wouldn't do this is if John Stones is back fit. If Stones is back fit, then I put Vardiol back at left back, and I have Stones and Diaz at centre half, Kusanov right back for Arsenal. If Stones isn't fit, which if he wasn't fit to be a part of the entire squad, I know he's not out for a while, Pep said, but Arsenal's this week. If Stones isn't available, I'd start O'Reilly at left back. I really would. I know it's a big ask against Eze or Madueke, who was brilliant against Forest, but why not? Why not? Aït-Nouri's out. He's shown against United, against Brian Mbeumo, who was their main threat. He's shown that he's got quality. And I mean, to be fair to Mbeumo, he sort of switched wings. I feel like he tried with Kusanov at first, struggled. In fact, I'll swap sides. I'll go to O'Reilly, struggled. Lad, you ain't scoring. Behave yourself. If you even get past them, you've got Donnarumma in there. Do one. Go back to Brentford, son. So yeah, O'Reilly, the fullbacks, immensely impressed with. Really, really am. I'm so proud of the pair of them. I really am. Now, as for the midfield, I feel like I'm just going to touch on the entire three because it was a bizarre one. I feel like for me, in due course, in maybe the coming weeks, possibly months, when Phil Foden, I mean, it's weird to say Phil Foden back to his fully best because yesterday he was incredible. But you know about when Phil gets a good run of games again, bit of rhythm again, Rodri just gets more football in his tank. Of course, spent a long time out injured, a big injury. When he's like fully free flowing and that and everything, and you know he's back up to pace, his passes are right again. And when Tijani Reina's fully, adapted to the Premier League and fits in, because we've seen the quality there. We've seen it in Brighton. We've seen it especially in the Wolves game, and even yesterday in moments. We know the quality's there. We can see it. I feel like when he gets going, he's going to really, really, really get going to Johnny Reina. So I feel like I look at that and I say that is most definitely Manchester City's best free midfield. It just is, regardless of who's available, who's fit. That's our best midfield, and that'll only get better. And how good were he yesterday? I felt like Rodri, to be fair, in moments, again, a little bit yard off it, or the passes are sometimes misplaced, giving the ball away a couple times, but it's going to happen. I feel like considering the amount of time he spent out injured, I've been impressed with Rodri since he's been back. I really have. And as I said, Reinders, we know there's quality there. He'll only get better. And as for Phil Foden, just take a bow. I'm so, you know what it is? I feel like I'm more happy for him than I am myself. And I mean, it's just like, he's one of our own. The stick he gets, how much time do us City fans spend defending Phil Foden because people disrespect him, people just lying his name, people writing him off after one poor season when the season prior to it, he was the best player in the entire English country, in the leagues, in the country, in the UK. One of the best players in Europe, not going to say the best, but yeah, people writing him off was stupid. And look, I hope all the critics will be as loud as the compliments when he, as I said, when he hits the rhythm again, when he gets back in rhythm, as good as he was yesterday. I'm not going to go overboard. You know what I mean? I'll speak on him here, but I'm not going to start going overboard and that because I'll let Phil do the talking. with the ball at his feet. You know what I mean? He was incredible. Ran the show. Again, you look at Arsenal. Foden's a big game player. That's the one thing that I will say, especially, you know, I mean, he's a great player anyway, but I don't know if it is maybe just because he's a fan as well and he understands it and he gets it maybe more than some of the foreign players would because he's grown up in amongst it, you know what I'm saying? But he always turns up in the big games and I'm hoping, well, not even hoping, we need him. We're going to need him against Arsenal. Some of that creativity, some of that magic that he had. Pep spoke about it before the game, how much we've missed him. Spoke about it after the game, even more so how much we've missed him last season. And yeah, just seeing him with a smile on his face, just the confidence, just everything. It was so nice to see. It really, really was. So happy for Phil Foden. And then as for Erling Haaland, 2 goals on the score sheet. Could have been more. It could have been more. I mean, it could have been 6. Not for Haaland. I'm saying for City. It could have been 6 or 7 yesterday. We were that good. We created that many chances. It was incredible. But how good's he? And it's a daft thing to say, innit? Because we all know how good he is. But you think midweek Norway played the full match, scored 5 goals, 2 assists. Then Manchester United gets 2 goals. It's the post. Again, a big game player. We're going to need him in Arsenal. I keep saying it about these players because Arsenal's the real test. Arsenal's the one I'm looking at and going, look, Derby Day, I really enjoyed it. Immensely enjoyed it. City were extraordinary, but Arsenal's the one that we've got to look at and go, that's going to be the big test. That's going to be difficult. They're a different kettle of fish compared to Manchester United. Sorry, I'm doing it again. I feel like it's a routine thing for my videos, isn't it? I just look at the lighting and just think, I feel like it's a bit too, like, golden. Don't know. Anyway, we're nearly half an hour into the video. If it's been doing your head in the entire video, I'm sorry. But anyway, Erling Haaland, that's what I was on. Erling Haaland was just, he was incredible. Took his goals brilliantly. That second one I was a big fan of as well. I know people might go on about the first one because it's cheeky, the little chip. But it's just the way, I've seen so many goals like it, but it's just such an unspoken about skill of his. Just, people don't mention how brilliant it is. The way he just takes that finish, he opens his body up and he just curls it in every time. He's so good. He's so good. So yeah, Haaland, I'm buzzing with. Need him for Arsenal. And yeah, you know, it puts us in a much healthier position, much healthier mindset, I would say. City needed this. We needed the performance. We needed the 3 points. We couldn't have come into the season, you know, game week 2, 3 and 4 losing 3 games in a row with Arsenal next to play in the league, you know. We'd have gone from winning 4 Premier League titles in a row to losing 4 bleeding matches in a row. But it isn't the case, and as I said, I'm immensely impressed and I'm immensely proud in the boys for the performance. Buzzing with Pep, buzzing with everyone. It's a good feeling again around this football club, and I hope we carry that on into the Napoli game, and even more so carry it on into the Arsenal game on Sunday. Now look, we've spoken about everything there is to speak about on the field now. I just want to end this video by talking about off the field news, the horrible news that played such a big part in this Manchester derby. It was the devastating passing of Ricky Hatton. I couldn't believe it. You know, you find out the news and it was just a lump in your throat. You know, it was such a shock to the system. For what would have been a beautiful day, a day that you'd have loved and adored, was sadly taken away from him, his friends, his family. You know, he'd have been there in a box at the stadium, loving it, having a few beers, celebrating, laughing at United. And sadly, it just wasn't the case. You know, it was horrible news. You know, it was so saddening. You know, I'm someone who, I don't particularly care about boxing. You know, it's not really my cup of tea. But as much as I don't care about boxing, I love Ricky Hatton. You know, the personality of Ricky Hatton, the man who he was. When I was younger, a lot younger, maybe 11, 12, I met him. I had a brief, very small interaction with Ricky Hatton outside a City Stadium after one of the games. Can't remember what game it was. And I'm going to have to try and find that picture if I can. I got a picture with him. Just a gentle, just a gentle man, do you know what I'm saying? Just a great guy. Took the time out of his day to take pictures of everyone who asked for one, everyone who wanted one, all the kids, the grown men, everything. You know, he's a man that, as I said, for someone, I don't care about boxing, but not only is it just because he was a mad Manchester City fan, and it's always good. You think of it with Oasis as well. You know, you're looking at legends on the worldwide stage who support your team. You always had a badge on him, but just Manchester in general. You know, Derby Day, of course, it gets spiteful, it gets bitter, and there's a lot of hatred between the two teams. But one thing that brings a lot of the fans together is a love for Manchester as a city. You know, I love Manchester. I'm proud to be Mancunian, and there's people like Ricky Hatton that make you feel proud to be Mancunian. You know, what he did, world champion boxer, taking Mancunians all over the world, putting us on the map in all different countries, all different continents, and a widely loved man. It is a death that affected a lot of people at Manchester City as a club. You know, he was involved at the club a lot. I thought Micah Richards on Sky Sports spoke brilliantly about it. You know, you can see the effect it had on a lot of people, and yeah, it was just devastating news. It took us all by surprise, and it was as soon as I seen it, one of my first thoughts were like, we've got to do this now for Ricky. You know, we've got to go and get a result that he'd have deserved. And you've seen it on Phil Foden's Instagram after it, saying that one was for you, and it was just emotional. You think the tribute before it on the big screen, the players around the circle, seeing Pep visibly emotional. All the City fans singing, "There's only one Ricky Hatton, walking along singing his song, walking in a hat and Wonderland." You know, it was about him, that, and I'm so pleased that we got the result that him and his family would have wanted. You know, it's sorry to end this video in such a sad tone, but it really was just terrible news, devastating news. And if it was what some of the reports or rumours are to be, then it makes it even sadder. You know, he was a man who's spoken out openly about his struggles in the past, and he's a good example of why that is the right thing to do. You know, don't let it get to a point where, if the rumours are true that Ricky was, you know, there are other options, there are people who care and you can speak to. Hopefully I've worded what I want to say right here. You know, it's not every day I speak on this type of topic, and I'm not great in my words at the best of times, never mind in a serious subject like this. But men, people, everyone, humans, you're not alone. People care, everyone cares, and you're talking about especially a man like Ricky Hatton, a legend like Ricky Hatton, lifelong blue, 46 years old, no age to be leaving this world at. So yeah, thoughts are with his family and his friends, and yeah, I'm pleased even more so with the result that we got it over the line for Ricky Hatton. So yeah, let's lift things up a little bit here. You know what I mean? I should have spoke about that earlier in the video. It has left a little bit of a dampener, but let's end this with a good smile on our face. Let's have a little, I don't know, a cheers. I don't have any mugs here, normally if I brew with it. I'd have a pint glass, but it's Monday afternoon. Let's lift one to Ricky Hatton. What a guy, what a legend, and a man who was loved by City as much as he loved the club. And yeah, look, Derby Day, on to the next one. On to the next Derby Day. You love it, you hate it. I do. I mean, I actually said, weirdly enough, in the preview and ahead of the game, that I hate it up until City are a 3-goal advantage. And I'd lied. I was loving it. I was hating it until we're at a 2-goal advantage. You know, it's just the unsettling idea of they could get one back here, or, you know, we've seen it in the past. It seems like the worse United are, the better results they seem to get out of us. But look, all this talk about Amarin's got Pep's number, blah, blah, blah. Behave yourselves. Get back in your box. Look, no matter how poor City are, it will never be as bad as them. Not again. So, yeah, look, buzzing with the result. You know, this is coming out to you on Monday evening once I get this all edited and uploaded. Monday evening. Wednesday afternoon will be the Napoli preview for, of course, a Champions League game on a Thursday night. Utter woke nonsense, but it is what it is. I'll discuss everything Napoli on Wednesday. So look, it was a long one, this one, but it was a bloody enjoyable one, you know what I mean? It feels so good to come in here and be like, yes, and singing and smiling and dancing and everything. You know, the past few haven't been so enjoyable, have they? So, yeah, I enjoyed it. As I said at the start of the video, if you're new to the channel, make sure you subscribe. If you haven't already watched my matchday vlog for yesterday, I'd recommend it. One, because I made it, you know what I mean? But two, I do genuinely feel like, I mean, I'm honest on here. I said it after the Tottenham game that was one of the worst ones I've ever put out because it just wasn't a good game. It wasn't a good anything. It wasn't even good from my end. I feel like I should have done more in it. But, you know what I mean? I feel like I was quite pleased with my United one. Yeah, I mean, I was impressed with how that one turned out. So, would highly recommend. Thank you to the 600 odd that have already watched it. Do you know what I'm saying? It's crazy numbers, you know, for a channel this size. You know what I mean? It's more views than subscribers. It's madness. But yeah, subscribe if you're new. Thank you for taking the time out of your day to watch this video. If you know there's any United fans out there, they won't still be watching now. But any of you Blues with any Reds, make the most of it. Have the last laugh. Make sure, you know, I mean, they're not going to be able to watch their team play midweek, which is sad for them, isn't it? Really, bless them. Bless them, bless them, bless them. They could have been playing Carabao Cup football, but Grimsby Town, up the Blues, come on City. What a performance. Thank you for watching, and yeah, go on City.